The definition of water pollution is the contamination of water sources by substances that make the water unsafe for human consumption or harmful to the environment. This can occur when harmful substances such as chemicals, microorganisms, trash or radioactive materials are released into bodies of water.
What causes water pollutions? There is a bunch of factors that causes water pollution, such as the following. The first one is industrial waste. Factories and industries often discharge untreated or inadequately treated wastewater containing toxic chemicals, heavy metals, and other pollutants into nearby water sources. This contaminates water, making it unsafe for human consumption and damaging aquatic habitats.
Second one is agricultural runoff. The excessive use of fertilizer, pesticides, and herbicides in agriculture leads to the contamination of water bodies. When it rains, these chemicals are washed off into rivers, lakes, and groundwater, causing eutrophication and harming aquatic ecosystems.
So lastly, plastic waste. Plastic, especially single-use items, often end up in water bodies. These non-biodegradable materials break down into microplastic, which harm marine life and disrupt ecosystem. Plastic waste is one of the most pervasive pollutants in ocean and waterways.
In order to evaluate the severity of water pollution, here is an experiment that can be conducted at home. The supplies for this experiment include white flowers, jars, water, white vinegar, scissors, and food coloring.
There are 6 scientific methods that we use to conduct this experiment. First is the aim of our experiment. The aim of our experiment is to evaluate the effects of water pollution on plants. Second, research. We research water pollution and how plants use water to better understand the science before the experiment. Third, hypothesis. We hypothesize the polluted water will be taken in by the plant and that water with low pH will kill the plant. Fourth is conducting the experiment itself. Fifth, analyze. We spent some time analyzing the outcome of the experiment. Sixth, conclusion. We came to a conclusion based on the results from the experiment. Let's get into the procedures. This experiment has 2 different parts. The first part is to demonstrate how plants take in contamination in water. The second part is to see how altered pH in water will affect the plant. First, add half a cup of water into each jar. Second, add a few drops of food coloring in each jar with different colors. Third, in the last jar, add a few drops of vinegar instead of food coloring. Fourth, cut all your flower stems to the same length and remove any extra leaves if required and place one in each jar. Lastly, after 24 hours, examine your flowers to see the results.
The result from food coloring. The photo shows the white flowers changing color due to the food coloring. It is a great demonstration on how the pollutants in the water could be seen visibly traveling through the flowers. This is also a great demonstration into how pollutants can affect photosynthesis.
And the result from vinegar, the flower that was placed in the jar with vinegar, in it looks the exact same as the other flowers with the exception of colors, except from one thing. The stem of the flower rooted and curled up. So, it shows that acidic water has an effect on our plants even though the outward appearance shows very little.
For civil engineering solution, we decide to use water filtration. So, this diagram illustrates the water treatment process, which ensures water is purified and safe for consumption and distribution.
This is the sequence of the water filtration process. For the first step, water is collected from a reservoir or natural sources like rivers and lakes. However, this water contains impurities like dirt, microbes, and organic materials that need to be removed.
Next, a chemical called a coagulant is added to the water. This helps bind tiny particles into larger clusters called flux.
In the flocculation tank, the water is gently stirred. This allows the small particles to stick together, forming bigger flocks that are easier to separate.
The water flows into a sedimentation basin where the heavy flocks settle at the bottom as sludge. The process clears most solid impurities from the water. The settled sludge is collected and sent to a sludge thickener for further processing and disposal. It may be repurposed for uses like horticultural landfills.
The clarified water is then passed through filters, which can be sand, gravel, or membranes to remove finer particles and impurities.
After filtration, disinfectants like chlorine are added to kill harmful microorganisms, making the water safe. In some cases, fluoride is added to improve dental health. The treated water is stored in a clean tank before being distributed to home, industry, and other facilities via pipelines. In conclusion, we must do our best as a community to overcome water pollution because water is our main source of survival. So as a community, we must take care of it to avoid mishaps from happening, such as poisoning from polluted water, dying crops, and much more.